You sing. When did you first
Yeah.
find your voice?
I found my voice when I really knew I could blend sounds and harmonize was watching 80s cartoons. I
Yeah.
remember gummy bear felt in
Oh,
here and then and everywhere. That's how it started.
Real Talk with Star Scorpio, episode 100. This is a special episode for me. Today, I'm joined by a talented creative I discovered through my 90210 fan page on Instagram, likely through the connection with Tori Spelling. You know how the algorithm works. After checking out his work, I knew I had to bring him on. He's an award winning actor, producer, singer, songwriter, activist, and founder of Firecreek Entertainment, making waves with his projects and gaining recognition across the indie scene. His passion, versatility, and drive are clear the moment you step into his world. LJ, welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. How you doing today?
Oh man, thank you. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. I'm doing fantastic. It's great to
Yes.
be here.
Yes. Thanks so much. Like we were saying before I started recording, I appreciate you doing this, and this is a special episode, episode 100. Thanks, LJ.
Woo, thank you for letting me come on your show.
Yes. Oh,
Appreciate you.
nice. Okay. With Real Talk, we like to build a timeline. And what I like to find out about my guest is there's a lot of milestones and achievements that propel you to different levels. There are also roadblocks that stop you from doing what you're doing. But along the way, there's some people that inspire you, that push you forward to help keep you going. So we're going to build that timeline and I'm going to find out all these things from you. But let's start from the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and I was inspired by, my upbringings in New York City as a kid. And I've always just been a curious young man since I was born. I think I was born, my mother used to say I was born dancing. So, so
Yo,
I came
yes.
out dancing.
That's okay. One thing I want to know, because I think we're kind of from the same area. You don't mind sharing your age, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
So how old are you?
I'm proud 44-year-old.
Yeah, so I'm 51. So we're kind of close. And because you mentioned that, I want to know what music did you grow up with and what inspired you? Because it seems like we probably grew up with the same things.
I, man, I grew up with a variety of different music. I grew up with hip hop during the
Mhm.
early stages of hip hop. I grew up with pop R&B. I grew up in soul, jazz. I grew up listening to Madonna, Prince, Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, Cyndi Lauper, Belinda Carlisle, Michael Bolton, Elton John records, and John Cicada, Cheyenne. I grew up, and then we had the Latin influences. Grew up listening to Gloria Estefan.
Mm,
I grew up listening to Thalia. I grew
mm.
up listening to Paulina Rubio. I grew up listening to just different Selena.
Oh,
Just
Selena.
just the so many. I had so many musical influences
I got one
growing
for you.
up.
I got one for
Mm.
you. El DeBarge?
El DeBarge. I can't forget El DeBarge. I used to cover a Rhythm of the Night when I did my club act. So yeah,
Yeah.
all of that, all of those.
Yes. You know what? There's that was a different time and era
Yeah,
because
it was.
I was
It
born in
was.
73, so 80s was
Mhm,
that time. You named
mhm,
all of the
mhm,
artists that I loved growing up on, even Cyndi
mhm.
Lauper. And
Yes.
I got a question about Madonna later on because I seen one
Mhm.
of your posts and I really inspired by it.
Oh, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
So I'm gonna ask
I have
that
a little
later on.
Madonna connection there too.
Yes. But tell me
Yes.
something. We're talking about BK, so Brooklyn. So what part of Brooklyn were you from? Because when Biggie made his
Mhm,
appearance back in the 90s, were
mhm.
you still in Brooklyn at the time?
Yes, I was. I have a story about that as well. But yes, I grew up in Gravesend, Brooklyn, Coney Island, in the
Okay.
area. That's South Brooklyn, Stillwell Avenue. I went to John Dewey High School. That's the same high school Spike Lee went to.
Oh,
So we
okay.
went to the same high school. I went there for 6 months before moving to West Palm Beach, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm south. I am just south from where Biggie Smalls, Little Kim, Jay-Z grew up.
Oh, did you have any run-ins with with the heads back in the
No,
day?
no, not at all.
Mm. I gotta
I,
tell you, my family, my dad's Guyanese, my mom's Bayesian, Barbados,
mhm.
but a big majority of my family live in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay, yeah, there's
Yeah.
that community there too.
Oh yeah, and
Oh yeah,
when I went there, I couldn't believe how much family I had. And it was a
oh yeah.
great experience. Went to Coney Island. I saw Coming to America in Brooklyn
Uh,
for the first time.
oh,
So it
nice.
was
Yeah,
great.
that's Coney Island's my hometown. Great memories.
Mm. Okay, now I want to know. I know you have a sister, but do you have any other siblings? And what was your home life like? Did you come from a strict household, or was it more relaxed?
Um, my parents had boundaries.
Mm.
They had they kept us in line. We my one thing's for sure, my mom did not play that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up getting it. My mother didn't tolerate that BS. My father was a little bit more lenient. You would think that
Oh,
Puerto Rican father would be a little bit more strict. No, my dad was the one we ran to
yeah.
to shield us from my mother's belt because she didn't play that. And my mom had great aim. She would throw the slipper, and it would be like, right hit it. Oh, oh, God bless my parents. But
Yeah.
yeah, they did not play that. But I think because I was the only boy, I got away with a lot. So,
Okay. Wait, so one sister or more sisters then?
well, you could say I don't no longer have any sisters now, but I did have three sisters, and
Oh,
and
okay.
myself as the only boy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing that you talk about discipline because
Uh-huh.
we came from the era where we got beats.
Oh yeah.
My parents are
Oh
older
yeah.
now, so and they don't watch this, so I
Mhm.
could even rat them out right now. We got the belt too, right? We got the belt when we were out of line. So I don't
But we
even.
came out okay though.
Yeah, you got it.
You
You got
know.
it. Okay, you brought up school now. So that was home life, now school. What did you excel in? Because I like to see if the early influences got to where you are at the point you are today. So did you excel in the English and the math, the
Oh
drama?
yeah.
What did you like?
I did. I did. I was fascinated with
Mm.
English and literature as well as history. There was a time, once upon a time ago, that I actually wanted to become a history teacher.
Oh, okay.
There
Hmm.
was a show, just for a short time, I just wanted to be a history teacher or a history professor because I was always fascinated with biographies and I was fascinated with people's lives as far as what they've done before me and how they excelled. And from that moment, I was like, well, I'm going to learn from the greats to become greater. So
Hmm.
that's what led me to wanting to become a history teacher. And it was just a few minutes, and then I was more of a performer at heart. So,
Okay.
but what kept me in school was the performing arts, because otherwise, I think I would have probably dropped out of high school.
Really?
And what kept me in line and what kept me in school and kept my grades up was the fact that I get to perform in the performing arts in high
Mhm.
school, the dramatic arts,
Yes.
and I was able to become part of the choir, the school chorus that was part of the performances. So that's what kept me in school and it kept my grades up.
Hmm.
Music education to me was very important
Hmm.
because music education has a little bit of math in it, has a little bit of literature in it, reading and then writing because you have to know how to do scales.
Right.
Dot ha ha ha. Music. That's what's kept me in school. So I'm
Hmm.
forever grateful for our music education programs that we had in the side, and I am a big supporter when it comes to saving the music and music educations in our schools. It
Beautiful.
helped me, and I'm
Beautiful.
hoping that today the program is still active.
Mm. One thing you touched on something there, but one thing that I learned because I'm years out of school, as you know,
Mhm.
um, but I there's certain subjects in schools which help the kids out. We had the shop class, we had a lot of different things,
Yeah.
but I heard they stopped a lot of those things. And I was like, wait a minute. Some kids are
Hmm.
drawn to this because they don't excel in certain subjects. And then they
Yeah.
feel like that whole thing, I'm not accepted here. I'm not doing good.
Right.
And they drop out. So you mentioned
Right.
a good thing there. And I wish I can go back and motivate kids. If I was living a different life, I could probably do it now. But that
Right.
motivation, I wish I could give that to some kids who are on that brink of quitting or something. But
Right.
tell me something. Do you have any teachers that kept you going? Because I still remember some teachers that had a big impact on me.
I did. I had a social studies teacher in high school, Miss Lila Marshall,
Mm,
who was one of my biggest supporters when I was in high school. And she was like, "You gotta do something great." And I remember when I got my first professional gig as an actor in off Broadway, or community theater off Broadway.
mhm.
Um, she was the first person there in the audience,
Oh,
in the
wow.
front row,
Yeah.
supporting me. And even after high school, we've kept in touch, and she was the biggest supporter. And she was like, "I knew that last name was going to get you somewhere. It's going to be on a marquee, and it's going to be on award statues." And that, she saw something in me. And even when my drama teacher
Mhm.
used to say, "You're a wannabe drama person. You're not going to
Yeah.
amount to anything." And it's like, she was the first to cry and congratulate when I'm receiving awards and honors. And I was just looking at her like, "I'm not going to be petty." I said, "I'm not going to be petty, Miss." Uh huh. And your other students, the stars of your class, I'm like, "Where are they now?"
Yeah.
They're asking me for jobs. They're coming to my office asking for a kid.
Yo, LJ.
But what I'm saying is, it's success is the best revenge.
Sorry, you got me. Sorry, you got me going.
I'm not apologizing for that. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was never really about me.
Mm,
This whole journey,
mm,
it was more of using what I could build to pretty much give back. That's what it really truly was all about.
mm. I like to hear that. And you know how you remembered your teacher's name too? I
Yeah.
could recite the teachers that impacted me. They don't leave your mind. And I
No, they
like that
don't.
she showed up like that. Are you still in touch with her now?
Um,
Or you lost
very,
touch?
very, very rarely, yes.
Mm.
And also a dance teacher. One of my first dance teachers, Lorraine Saracino. I've been trying to locate her because God, if I see her, I'll probably burst into tears
Oh, wow.
because she's that type of person who believed in me. And this was in junior high school, in eighth grade. She sent me on an audition because she saw something in me as a dancer.
Mhm,
She sent me to a school called Ballet Hispanico Dance Company. It's a really prestigious school in New York.
mhm.
It was in the it was July of 1996. I
Okay.
remember I took the subway by myself in New York City. I used to always take the train with my mother. I took a
Yeah.
chance. I went to this audition and I got in,
Wow.
all because of a referral.
Mhm.
This teacher believed in me, and when I made it, I excelled in Ballet Hispanico for the 3 months summer program. And I remember I was able to thank her that September
Mhm.
before starting high school, and I thanked her profusely. I said, "Because of you, I got into the school." She was like, don't thank me. It was you who got into the school. You needed to just believe in yourself. I just gave you a push." And to this very day, I still hold her in my heart.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yo, LJ, tell me something. I don't know why I'm more emotional at this age. I don't know if you get emotional too,
I
but
do.
even you telling me this story, it's like I get goosebumps
I
and
do. I
you
am.
the eyes welt up and stuff, you know?
I do.
Mm,
Have so many stories because everything looks picturesque,
mm,
perfect.
mm.
You're getting work as an actor, you got awards, you're being published in red carpets, and but behind that, there's more to that.
Yeah.
There's the struggling aspect. There's the scars on your knee aspect, and I'll tell you about my famous scar.
Okay.
How we I build my corporation, but it's a lot.
Mm. Well, Episode 100 is turning out to be okay. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Yes.
There's a couple times on this show where I was glad I was wearing my shades because I need my Kleenex here. But I could feel it's one of those episodes. I could feel the connection. One thing I do want to ask you, LJ, still on the school.
Mhm,
You talked about history, right?
mhm,
So growing up in Canada,
mhm,
I didn't like history because we were learning Canadian history. I'm from
mhm,
Toronto, right?
mhm.
Like it
Right.
was boring to me. History is one of the subjects I just barely passed. And we didn't have to take it after grade 9. We just needed that credit. And it didn't interest me. Being an American, how was it from your perspective learning about history and
So,
black history?
wow, man, it was extremely fascinating. The first thing I learned was the history of the Holocaust, which, as you know, right now here in the United States, they're trying to block the stories and they're trying to erase, you know, history, especially Black history right now. And I live in South Florida, and our ridiculous, stupid governor wants to ban books, wanted to ban history books. And I'm an avid reader, as you can see in my background. I love books. I love stories. You would never, ever, not in my household, you are not going to ban no history books from my house.
Mm,
You're not going to do that. I learned about the Holocaust, and I've met survivors when I was younger, and they show me their tattoos, their scars. They show me the numbers. That was kind of the first thing. And then I
mm,
learned about Martin Luther King,
mm,
Malcolm X. I learned about, Rosa Parks. I learned about Eva Peron, the spiritual leader of the nation in Argentina,
mm.
how she stood in the balcony, she fought and spoke to her people. I learned about that. I became fascinated with RFK, John F. K. Jr. You know how many times I've seen that documentary, and people say, "How
Yeah.
many times can you watch a white man get his head blown off?"
Yeah.
But I was fascinated with that and Jackie Kennedy. Then
Mm,
the stars, the movie stars who came before me.
mm.
I've learned about, Desi Arnaz. He was the owner of, studios. Like he was the first man, ethnic man, Latino,
Mhm.
who owned RKO Studios, which later became Paramount Studios. Like, wow, he owned this. Lucille Ball. He was
Yeah.
married to Lucille
Yes.
Ball,
Yes.
Lucy from I Love Lucy fame. So that's how it all started. I just wanted to know their stories, and I wanted to read, their history books.
Mm.
I just wanted to know about them. And if I had the opportunity to get in a time machine and actually speak to them, and I have them tell me themselves, it would be so incredible.
Mm.
And
Amazing.
I wanted to teach that to kids. I wanted to pass it forward, if you will. And that was just the beginning. Then I wanted to know about Quincy Jones. I wanted to know about Michael Jackson. I wanted to know the history of Tina Turner. These bios.
Mm.
I have a book of Annette Funicello,
Oh,
Disney star, first one of the first Disney
wow.
stars.
Yo.
Like I'm a Stephen King fanatic, and I have books on Barbara Streisand and Sinatra, and I recently just finished reading The Contender
Oh my.
from Marlon Brando,
Marlon
America's
Brando.
one of a phenomenal
Yes.
actor. And then I have books on Madonna, and
Hmm.
you name it, I probably have the book. Look, the famous I
Hi,
Tina, which
Tina.
they made this into a movie, a little known movie called What's Love Got to Do with It.
Mm.
So I just love books. I love that a book can take you to another world. And
Yeah.
I'm an old fashioned guy. I can cuddle up with a big comforter with a old fashioned book, and I don't want the audio book. I want it to take
You
me
can.
someplace. So
I
that's
see.
why that's where
Yeah.
the whole journey, a fascination with books come from,
Yeah.
and learning. I'm
I
I'm still a student.
You explained it well. Now I understand the history and why you wanted to teach history, and I understand how these people impacted your life. One thing with me, so I like how you said that. I told you before we started recording. The audience knows I've said this many times. My reading is I can't explain it. I can't sit down and read a book without my mind wandering off. And
Ah,
then I feel like I'm dyslexic, but I never got diagnosed with it because I
I
mix up
got you.
words, I got words back. So I rather listen. So one thing I
Ah,
appreciated,
yes.
you name some gems there. Even the Rat Pack, right? Sammy Davis Jr.
Yes, my favorite. I have
Yes.
their paintings.
Yes. So one thing I appreciated with the internet age is that I can watch biographies and
Mhm.
see stories told from the vision and the telling of the actual person or someone close to them. So I really appreciate that because I can't read the
Yeah,
book, but I
I,
understand. Yeah.
that I'm a big YouTube. I love watching bios and
Yeah.
documentaries, and it just takes me to another place and learn their history and their stories. And of course, some bios are a little exaggerated, or some are not really telling
Mhm.
compelling truth. But
Yeah.
it's you could do, and like Dorothy Dandridge is another one who people seem to want to erase from history. You can't erase the first black actress to win it, or should I say she didn't win it, but she did win in her heart. It was the first black actress to win or nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress in
Hmm.
1955.
You
So
you know
Carmen Jones.
you know your stuff. I like this. I appreciate this because you're also teaching me too. I like this. But you're dropping names. When you said Eva Peron, the first thing that came to my mind is "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," but I don't know if I'm mixing that up.
Yes.
Is that
No,
right?
you're right. That's
Yeah.
right. That
Okay.
was from the musical, the from the musical adaptation, but it's loosely based on a speech.
Hmm.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is, I shall not leave you, which is it touches my heart because in the musical, at least in the musical version, she's telling her people that she's never going to leave us. And
Yeah.
to me, that always been kind of like a fear is that if I'm no longer here, will people even know my name, or am I just going to fade away? So I think I'm sort of obsessed with working to
Yeah.
kind of leave at least to leave a little something behind. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
least people are like, I remember, I think I know that LJ Ugarte guy. He a singer or something? At least that.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take that. But it's more about the creativity aspect of my life, not for anything vain or anything self-absorbed. It's just more of leaving a truth
Yeah.
behind.
Bam. Wow. You said something there too, like the whole leaving. It's like leaving a legacy, leaving your stamp on this little time we have here on this world, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
why I like doing the podcast too. So what we're creating today is gonna live on once I post it. And I kind of like that. And I like
I
building
love that.
connections with people. I'm in Toronto, you're in Florida, but
Hmm.
we're connected together today. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Mm. Okay.
Absolutely.
I had a question. I need to go back to your beginnings into entertainment, but you
Hmm.
you said some names there. So I'm just gonna ask the question now because you seem like you can answer it, no problem. Um, I want to know what these artists, these singers mean to you. I have four names here, right?
Hmm.
Irene Cara.
She was fearless. Eileen Cara was was popular until the industry stripped her from all of her greatness. I just think when I hear "What a Feeling," she was just magical. Triple threat.
Good. I like that. She was one of my favorite back in the days.
Mine
I don't
too.
know if I don't know. We're from the same era, but do you remember a movie called DC Cab?
I do.
And Irene Cara was in that. I don't know
I
if you
do.
did.
It's very
Okay.
underrated. Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they identify her with Sparkle and Fame, but they knew
Yeah.
that she started when she was a little girl.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So
Did you hear that, everybody? He just mentioned Fame, one of my favorite shows. Leroy,
yeah,
you remember?
yeah.
You remember
Of
Fame?
course, we all remember Leroy the Dancer. I
Yeah.
remember the movie and the TV show. I remember watching that as a kid, wishing I could be in that school and
Yes.
having those characters as my friends. And I was like 10 years old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Yeah. Performance art. It was amazing. That was an
yes,
amazing TV show.
it was.
Um. Okay. You mentioned Tina Turner, but tell me a little bit about Tina, how she impacted your life too.
Tina's a survivor, a fighter and a survivor. She overcame so many obstacles in her life. And at the end of the day, she saw light at the end of the tunnel and she said, no more. She says, you know what? This is going to be a fight to the finish. And you're not going to stop me right now. I'm going to sing the type of music that you think I shouldn't be singing. And I'm going to tell you to fuck off. You know what I mean? Like you're going to. And that's what Tina Turner means to me is rock and roll
Mhm.
rock and freaking roll. That
Yeah.
woman did it, and she did it her way. That's
Mhm.
that's what Tina Turner is to me.
Nice. She lived a long life too.
Yes, she did. A fighter.
After Ike too,
Of
right?
course. Aiku. No, no, I'm
Aiku.
just God bless Ike Turner.
True, true.
He was an amazing musician in his own right. Not taking
Yeah,
nothing away from him.
yeah. Okay, ready for the next name?
Mhm.
Prince.
I had the honor and distinct pleasure to participate in his Super Bowl performance. Me, I was there.
What?
In his legendary performance, I was on the field, there, with the lights, and I was feet away from him. I wish that I had camera time so you guys can see, but I did. To this day, it's in my storage. Unfortunately, I did receive a certificate of participation for being a part of the Super Bowl halftime show, and I did see him again in person, live in concert for the Musicology tour.
Wow. Oh,
Prince is everything, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
yes, yes.
And
Oh,
just being able to see him in person and wave, even though he didn't speak to us because Prince was kind of shy and he was like
yeah.
looking around. I got to be there for the sound check. He is amazing. And
Wow.
it rained that day. It was
Yeah.
pouring rain. We were soaked in the field, but we were so happy to be there. I got to show you the certificate. I have it framed from that. I was there personally.
Yeah. Say, yo, take a picture of that after or something and just send
I
it to me.
I will. I got to go to my warehouse to
Yeah.
go through the and
Oh
yeah,
yeah, on your time. That's amazing. I didn't know
yes,
this. And
I
this
was
is
there
why
personally.
I can't do too much research because
Yeah.
I hear about these things on my podcast with my guests and then
Yeah.
I get excited to hear it.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know I was in the field as a background, with all the crowd,
Yes.
with the little lights they gave us.
Yeah.
And we rehearsed for like a week and it was just amazing just to be in his presence,
Mhm.
just
Amazing.
next to him, breathing the same air he is. God, he's
Okay,
missed.
I'm gonna ask something before I hit my last person. I'm gonna ask like something somber.
Mhm.
When you hear that these people pass away, how does that affect you personally?
It aches. It does ache.
Mhm.
But I know that their music is going to forever live on. It's going to
Yeah.
be in our hearts forever. That's why they did what they did and they made the music that they made.
Mhm.
Every time I'm feeling somber, just pop in one of their records and reminisce and just enjoy their music. That's what they would have wanted as artists. And I'm glad for that.
Yeah. And that's what we were talking about too. We want to leave our mark too, right? They left their mark. We can
They
just
sure
turn on
did.
YouTube right now or one of our,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say cassette tapes or audio,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever it is, and then we can
Or
hear their
record,
music or
or one of
record.
the CD or
Yeah. Yes.
YouTube. And
Yes. Amazing. Now the last person I'm gonna ask about because I seen an IG post where you're
mm,
explaining what Madonna means to you. What does Madonna mean to you? Let me know.
freedom of expression and freedom of expression and artistic, artistic whatever.
Mm,
Madonna's gonna do and say and be who she wants and not care what anybody thinks. To me, artists like Madonna, they're very rare. We're in a world of Madonna wannabes,
mm,
but Madonna is definitely the blueprint.
mm,
And I had the fortunate, in my career to meet a lot of people who worked closely with Madonna. um, some of my dear friends have toured with Madonna and
mm,
toured with her for many years.
mm,
And Madonna is a perfectionist. Madonna is a singer songwriter, dancer, musician. She plays drums. Madonna plays the guitar. A true musician.
yeah.
And she came from an era when you had to make music for real.
Mm,
You had to sing, then do the bridge, and Madonna recorded during an era before the auto tuning. So
yeah.
you gotta give this woman respect.
Yeah.
She might not be the world's greatest singer, but boy, she sings live.
Yes.
She sings live in her tours, and that give her that much respect. So that's
Mm,
what Madonna means to me. Great artist, great musician. She don't care what people thinks about her. If you don't like her, she's gonna do it 10 times more to piss you off.
yeah.
And I'm that type of artist too.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Mm,
Somebody says, "Oh, I don't like when you do that." Oh, it's okay. I'm gonna do it 10, 20 times more.
yeah. I get
It's just
that.
not for you. It's not always for you. If you don't like my records, you don't like my films, don't watch me.
Mhm.
You can control me because I'm gonna do it more.
Yeah.
I'll give you a reason to to piss yourself off. I'm not pissed off. You are.
Yeah.
And that's the era we're in. People are mad because they're mad.
I like that. Wait, one thing I want to ask before I finish about Madonna.
Mhm.
Did you always have thick skin? Do you have thick skin where things don't
No.
hurt you, or
Uh,
do things get to you emotionally where you take it in?
I'm human. I'm a human being.
Mm,
I'm a good human being. There are things that do bother me. Ignorance is one.
mhm,
Racism is two.
mhm,
People who don't think before they speak piss me off. Like,
mhm,
watch your words.
mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? But for the most part, I do have thick skin,
Okay.
and just the ridiculousness and the stupidity that people do behind a computer or a tablet. You can troll all you want to, but you're gonna say it in my face. You're gonna get fucked up. Excuse
Yeah.
my language.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that we're just in an era of trolls. And we're in an era that everybody thinks everything is so cringe.
Mm,
Oh my God, they're so sensitive. We grew up in the 80s, in the
yeah.
90s. We didn't think things were cringy then.
Yep.
We had sense of humor.
Hmm.
We didn't let the little BS that the kids think today are cringy. Back then, these kids wouldn't survive in the 80s and 90s today. They
So
would,
true.
and even in the early 2000s, we were more like, okay. We had movies like Showgirls. We had In Living Color, and we
Yeah.
had like SNL and stuff that really make these ridiculous clowns cringe today.
Hmm. And the
So
comedians and comedian.
and right,
I did stand up comedy for 8 years, and one
you
of the
said that, yeah.
comedians that I really admired back in the day was, of course, Eddie Murphy.
Ah,
That
come
made me
on,
want to do comedy. You know what
come
I mean?
on.
Yeah.
Yes, and today it's like, oh, we're so sensitive, and
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed at their parents. I'm like, but you was the main.
Yeah.
I saw videos of
Oh,
you at Freaknik, and now all of a sudden you want to be holy.
yeah.
No, lady, you done forgot who you are. But once you were a big member of the Freaknik community, we have footage. Now all of a sudden you want to be all cringe, and you're raising your kids to be all cringy. Nah, I'm not okay with that. It's
Yeah.
it's foolishness to me. You know
True.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Back to Madonna for a minute though.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna show you a picture on
Hmm.
my door here, and you'll see that I'm a Madonna fan. But my wife was a
Nice.
big Madonna fan. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
how I like Eddie, she
Yeah.
loved Madonna. She been to the concerts back in the days. You know, you can't touch Madonna. And
No.
tell me if you were like me, because videos aren't the same as they were when we grew up, where you used to
Hmm.
wait for a video to come out.
Yeah.
I used to record, we used to have something called Much Music where they play the music.
Uh,
Now they play reality shows on Much
I'm
Music.
obsessed. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
So I used to record all of my favorite music videos. So, like a prayer, I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many times I listened to that. Like this is how I knew I was a creative. I
Uh-huh.
love the imagery of like a prayer, and then Oh Father, the
Mhm.
black and white.
Right.
It used to bring tears to my eyes. I don't know why. I just rewind and watch it again. Rewind and watch it
Yeah.
again. But I don't know how you feel about yeah, that aspect of Madonna too.
My introduction of those videos was my sister bought the Immaculate collection on
Okay.
VHS. That's
Mm,
how I kind of it was introduced in 88,
yes.
89. I think what, I'm old enough to remember my oldest sister Martha, my dear sister Martha is no longer with us. She took me to go see Who's That Girl in the theaters in Times Square in New York.
Okay.
Yes, I remember seeing Who's That Girl because the kid. It was a kid-friendly movie.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing that Beetlejuice. I'm gonna get you, sucker, in the cinemas in New York City, in the heart of Times Square. Can you imagine being an 8-year-old going to gruddy Times Square, New
Mm,
York, USA in the 80s to see a Madonna picture?
yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, that was something. Those She was a visionary,
Yeah.
and those videos were like mini films.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
love all those videos. Yeah.
I think that's the first time I
Much.
saw Leon, like Leon, right? Is that
Oh, the
saying?
actor. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
brilliant. He's
Yeah.
brilliant. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what you mentioned? I was gonna say, it's gone from my head. You said something about no, no. Don't worry. If it comes back, I'll
Who's
bring it
that
up.
girl?
Oh, there you go. Was that? There's two Madonna movies I think that I watched. Which one is the one with Rosanna Arquette?
It's Desperately Seeking Susan,
Desperately Seeking Susan.
1985.
Yeah, mixing it up. Yeah. Who's that
Yeah,
girl? Was a
that was
nice
the
girl.
first one. Desperately Seeking Susan was 1985, which was considered the Madonna movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she was just about to release Like a Virgin.
Yes.
That's why Into the Groove was incorporated into the soundtrack of that movie. However, it didn't make the Like a Virgin album until years later, the deluxe edition. Then they added it. It was just a single track.
Okay. Yeah.
So that, yeah. Then years later, Who's That Girl, which introduced Who's That Girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, the 80s. Okay, now back to you, LJ. Um, so you're a singer, songwriter, producer, actor, everything.
Yes.
One thing I like to learn about my guests who sing, it was so fun. I had Tari Torre on. I don't know if you know Tari
Hmm.
Torre. I had
Yeah,
her
I
on my
do.
podcast, and she had a funny story. I'm like, when did you
Uh-huh.
find your voice? She said she found her
Uh,
voice in the shower. I'm like, okay, let me ask
mm,
this person. Let me ask. So now
yeah,
I'm asking you.
yeah.
You sing. When did you first
Yeah.
find your voice?
I found my voice when I really knew I could blend sounds and harmonize was watching 80s cartoons.
Mm,
I remember the sing along. Remember all those cartoons had theme songs.
of course,
And
yes.
I would sing that to the top of my lungs. And I remember my dad, who had a great ear, my dad was a baritone, wasn't a professional singer, but my father had a phenomenal voice.
Mm,
He I don't know where my voice came from, but it wasn't as deep as my father's. I
yeah.
remember, call me there, felt in
Oh,
here and then and everywhere. That's how it started. And
mm,
then it was the Perfect Strangers, the theme song on those beautiful life is like a misery. That's how I knew I could do sounds,
oh,
and I was like, wow, these sing-alongs.
mm,
Casper, the friendly ghost. Du, 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 du. Then I knew I was going. I'm doing something. Is that singing?
mm,
And then I remember the teachers. I would sing in class. The teachers would be like, "You can sing." I'm like, "That's singing." I like the theme song,
yeah.
you know. So that's how it kind of started
Mm,
for me. That's when I realized I guess I can sing. I'm not the world's greatest singer at all, but
mm.
it's doing something. I can hear notes.
I want to know too. You said teachers, but who else took notice? Because sometimes we do these things on our own. Being a comic, when I was doing
Uh-huh.
comedy, I heard it in public school. Oh, Peter, you should be on TV. Peter, you should act. Peter, you're fun. You hear these things, but you don't
Uh-huh.
realize that you really have a talent at the time.
Right.
Who noticed you? Was it your family or was it the teachers or someone else where you said,
It
"Hey,
was.
you have something there"?
I gotta say, it definitely was the teachers because my god awful hateful sisters sure as hell did not think I was talented. I think they did, but they
Yeah.
just didn't want to say it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And they never acknowledged. I've never heard any of my siblings say, "Wow, you." Well, I'm sorry, my sister Martha, the one who took me to see Who's That Girl. I always got to speak her name.
Mhm.
She's not longer here.
Mhm. All right.
She kind of was like, "You good. I like that. You're very good." She did say that to me, so I can never forget that. She also introduced me to Radio City Music Hall in 1989 too. So, but yeah, got to say
Mhm.
her and Miss. I got to speak her name too. I almost forgot Mrs. Wilson, my first grade teacher.
Okay. Oh, you remembered another one. Yes.
Mrs. Wilson. God, she was so sweet. She looked like a. She almost kind of was. She almost kind of looked like a nun. She was
Mm.
dressed up like a little nun with the long white hair and
Yeah.
always. I have a picture of her in my. I should have showed it, but yeah, she was like, "You can sing and you're really funny."
Yeah.
Always remember Mrs. Wilson. She's in heaven floating around somewhere.
Yeah, we lost so many great ones. People we
Yeah,
know,
she
people in
was
the
an old lady
industry.
then. Oh my goodness, she got to be 100 years old now.
Yeah.
So my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah. So, where are some of the places you performed in? Like, what started that? Because you got the acting side, which I want to talk
Mhm.
about in a minute.
Yeah.
But where are some places you performed? I think you mentioned theater too. But
Yeah.
tell me about some of your performances. And were you nervous the first time you performed?
I'm still nervous
You're
in every
still nervous.
show. um, my very first stage, you can say, was going to the Statue of Liberty in New York City. And when you go to visit the Statue of Liberty, you got to walk up these spiral stairs, and it takes forever because you got a whole bunch of people wanting to go up to the crown.
Yep.
I remember bursting into song. I was bored. I was like eight
Yeah.
years old,
Yeah.
9 years old. I started
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, beautiful roses, the sky forever waves up." I hit the notes like
Yeah.
"ever waves of gray," and I'm waiting online, and everybody looked. And I remember when I was done singing that song, everybody applauded,
Yeah.
and I was a kid. Maybe they applauded because I was a little boy that was singing, or maybe I had something. That was my first stage.
Mm.
Then years later, I started doing community theater, high school plays, clubs, working with professional artists as backgrounds, and blah, 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 blah. X, Y,
Mm.
and Z. That's how it started for me.
Mm. Hey, that's what I want to know. Mm.
Yeah.
And okay, wait, and the dancing now. So
Mm-hmm.
you gave me the singing part and
Mm-hmm.
songwriting too. But
Mm-hmm.
the dancing, when did the dancing start? Were you always that dancer? Did you do the
Yes.
break dancing back in the 80s? You know what I mean? Or are
Well,
you too young?
God, I got to show you my throat. I had the Michael Jackson
Oh, you
Beat It jacket. I have that photo. Um, I've always been a dancer because we danced at the house. I grew up in a Hispanic Puerto Rican household, and there was always music dancing. My mother used to always pull me out to dance. You know,
yeah.
you know, Casey, tu sarora, Casey, te usarora, gusarora. My host. That's how it was. Christmas and holidays, we were always dancing.
Hmm.
But when I studied dancing was in junior high school. We had a dance class, a dance program,
Hmm.
and that's where I learned how to ballet dance, learn how to techniques, professionally,
Yes.
which led to Miss Saraceno sending me out into the world of professional dancing, and that's how I became a dancer
Hmm.
because I was always a dancer, but not in that scale where I performed like in ballets and tap dancing and jazz.
Yes. Oh,
And that was in the mid 90s.
in the mid 90s. Yeah. Amazing. You've done a lot. You've done so many things. And we
Oh,
didn't even
thank you.
touch on the directing and acting and all that stuff
Uh-huh.
yet. But
Thank you.
one thing I want to drop back on is you said something about scars. Do you want to share that story right now?
Of course. And this is kind of moving forward a little bit
Hmm.
towards the Fire Creek.
Okay.
Because of course, there's music and there's dancing. And if I may share it, it's
Yeah.
and this is how the origin of Firecreek Entertainment started.
Hmm.
So be prepared. This is deep. So at the time, once I was done with high school, um, I already was prepared for the world. My mother wanted me to go to college. I didn't want to go to college, but I did it to please her. Studied computer graphic design, X, Y, and Z. Dropped out of college after 2 years. I was over it. I just wanted to perform, but I wasn't getting work. I wasn't talented enough. I couldn't sing. I couldn't dance. I couldn't hear. I was too skinny. I was too fat. I was brown skin. I wasn't light skin. I wasn't white. I wasn't black enough. So I don't know what the hell did you guys want from me. I mean, I did everything you guys wanted me to do, but I wasn't being accepted in an entertainment. At this point, I was frustrated, but I never, in my mind, was going to give up. So I said, I'm going to start a company, and I am going to jack you guys up. Wait till I come back. Slam the door. I said, "What? How am I going to do this? I have no money. My education, I don't know. I don't know anything." So I started educating myself. I said, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to put my loves, my variations of my two loves, the fire and the creek. I love fire. I love fireplaces. Love the warmth of the fireplaces, and I love the creeks because the creeks and the sound of the water is relaxing to me. Fire, fireplaces, and fire with the cinders and the noises is romantic to me. So you have these two romantic merging, the fire and the creek. That Fire Creek was born. How am I going to incorporate this? I have no money. I don't
Yeah.
have anything. So I'm going to save my money. I have to get a job. I was cleaning up dog poop for a while at a kennel. How am I going to incorporate my money so I work and save my money? At the time, I had a suitcase, a black suitcase. I still have that suitcase
Mhm.
proudly on display in my warehouse. That's the only thing I had was a black suitcase. I had a couple of slates, which, if you know what a slate is,
Yeah.
it's one of these.
Yeah.
I had one that I bought at a gift shop at Universal Studios. Now, this is more of a legitimate slate, a real
Hmm.
one we
Hmm.
use in movies. I had that. I had a couple of beat up lights that I got at the Salvation Army. I had a couple of makeup, cheap makeup from the dollar store, and I put it all in a suitcase. And that was Firecreek Entertainment, that suitcase. That was my corp. That was this big old grand company I started. I got a gig. I got an audition for a gig in Miami. And at the time I didn't have a vehicle to get anywhere. So I had to take a train. South Florida, we have a thing called the Tri Rail, which is a local commuter rail. On my way to the train station, I was just eager to get to this audition all the way down in Miami. I had to take a train from West Palm to Miami. My black suitcase got stuck in a rail track, and it started to rain. And I guess that was the universe telling me not to go. But I was trying to fight the universe. I said, please, God, let me have this one chance. And if these people don't accept me, that's fine. I'll accept it. But please just let me go there. Because if I go there, they could tell no to my face, but at least in my heart, I could say that I did it. So I remember my suitcase got jammed and I pulled my suitcase and I fell and hit my knee on a rock. And it scraped my knee, scraped my pants. I was bloody. I was crying. I was upset. But I was determined to get to that audition. Moving forward, I remember wiping my tears. I prayed to God. I said, God, please just let me get there. Guess what? I ended up going to Miami with a bloodied knee, fixed my face. I still hung on to that suitcase. I got the job. I was so disheveled and I got the job. That was one. I got the scar, the scrape that the famous
Wow, you
you
still
can see
have
it.
that. You
And
wow. Mm.
every time I have an ego, which is rare, never have an ego.
Hmm.
Every time I feel like I'm above it, or I've done this and I've done that, that knee starts to throb because it's a constant reminder to stay humbled. It's a constant reminder that you are still that young man with the suitcase. It could be taken away from you. So remember to be kind, caring, and generous. That was one instant. The next instant is when I did get another job. I had to transport, go. And as I started working and saving money, my lighting started getting a little better, started getting more professional things. I put it in the suitcase. I went to Fort Lauderdale and I was supposed to I was coming home from a hard day's work on the set. I was so thrilled. A group of this little gang in Fort Lauderdale tried to rob me at knife point and
Wow.
try to steal the suitcase. There was nothing in it. It was just a bunch of lights and stuff like that. But guess what? At the time, I held on to that dear suitcase. I said, you could do whatever the hell you want to do. I took that black suitcase and I was not going to let these guys rob me. I took the suitcase and I started swinging at those guys. I was like, and I
Hmm.
thought, would I do that today? No, I wouldn't. Here, you
Yeah.
can have it. But at
Yeah.
the time, it's all I had. That
Mm.
was everything. That was my whole world, my whole life. So I made it home safely. They ran off. They were a bunch of kids. They were punks.
Hmm.
Survived that instance, but I learned a valuable lesson. And the lesson was, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. But to continue fighting and moving forward to this very day, that beautiful, dusty old suitcase with the missing wheel is proudly on display. And people often says, "Can I see that suitcase? Can I pay homage to it?" I don't. And I to this day, I still kind of go to the place and look at it, and I kind of talk to it.
Yeah.
I kind of talk to the suitcase, kind of like it's kind of like an old friend.
Mm.
And I go up to him like, "Hello, friend." It's like an old dear friend.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? And it's kind of like a shrine. You know what I mean? As corny as that may sound, but that's the suitcase to this day still keeps me humbled.
Beautiful. Thanks for
Oh
sharing
yeah,
that. That's not
yes.
corny, by the way. That's not corny. And
Thank you.
thanks for sharing the story.
Absolutely.
Those are stories you probably shared this story with
Oh,
other
so many
people,
times. Yes,
but
many
that seems like
times.
one of those inspirational stories. Remember I said I want to try and go back and keep kids motivated and not give up on their dreams, that seems like a story that you could tell to keep someone motivated.
Oh yeah, whenever I have to do a presentation or something, I go back to the put on my white gloves because
Hmm.
it's very sensitive. It's not sensitive; it's strong as an ox.
Hmm.
But I show them the famous suitcase and I put it on the stage and explain that this is an old friend. I
Yeah.
would like you guys to meet the original Fire Creek, which is a dusty old suitcase.
Yeah.
That's this is the heart and soul of Fire Creek Entertainment. You know
Mhm.
what? Speaking of which, I need to put insurance on that suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do gotta put insurance on that suitcase. It means more to me than anything else in the world.
Amazing.
It means so.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, LJ.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you know what's crazy? That when I asked that scar question, that was my next question for you. Like, how did it start? How did Fire Creek start? So beautiful intro to Fire Creek. Now I want to know some of the things you accomplished in Fire Creek because when you think of having your own production company, it comes with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things. You know,
It does.
acting in your movies,
Mm-hmm.
producing it, directing it, film. I think you do all this all, right? Maybe filming
Mm-hmm.
it too, hiring actors and actresses and things like that. Tell me a little bit about the beginnings till how it is going today.
You know, it has its ups and it has its downs. Right now, Fire Creek Entertainment is a subcontracted production company. Where our secondary company, we usually work now in association with major companies. Now we
Mhm.
either, you know how, let's say for an example, Paramount Pictures proudly presents in association with Fire Creek Entertainment. Associate, so we're the association.
Mhm.
We've attempted to present movies ourselves, um, and with great success. We had a couple of flops, which it's okay. You know, it's trial and error. It's hard to keep a company for 18 years, to maintain it, to water it, to keep planting seeds. It's not always very easy. I'm always working in the office doing inventory and overseeing every aspect of the company, to raising the funds. It's a little difficult sometimes raising equity for films. And as the company gets bigger, the budget and the productions get bigger.
Mhm.
And it's but when you have so much love for something, you hang on to it and you keep fighting for it.
Mhm.
So Fire Creek Entertainment is one of those companies that is not going anywhere. We
Okay.
might You might not hear from Fire Creek in 2 years. We might have not produced something immediately, but we're still around. Best believe, just because Fire Creek Entertainment, you don't see us constantly pushing pictures out there, doesn't necessarily mean that we're not sponsoring GhoulieCon. That's a plug for GhoulieCon for January.
Yeah.
For July, we sponsor events, performances. We're selling products
Mhm.
and we're renting out equipment to other companies,
Mhm.
and we're being credited for that. So it's one of those trial and error type companies that's not going anywhere.
Yes, nice. I see you've accomplished a lot. You have a lot of awards. I can go down the list here, but I want to know which one stands out for you because you have let me just see. Best Shorts Award, Crown Wood
That,
International Film
yeah,
Festival, Hollywood Gold Awards, Indie Film Festival. So many
yeah,
different things where you were in behind the scenes,
yeah,
whatever. What one stands
yeah.
out for you?
God, is it? Well, you know, the Emmy is one
Mhm.
for sure. The Indie X Award to me, which was one of my first awards, was beautiful. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got one of these. The Indie short, the Indie short, and then the Indie which was
Film Festival. Like
beautiful.
winner, best
Yeah.
producer, LJ Ugarte.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I see it. Mhm.
That, and then of course, you know, I've worked with other companies, and so Fire Creek is a proud Emmy award-winning production company, multi-award. I'm proud of all of them. I'm just proud to be recognized, and I'm proud that my little baby, my little company, the little company that could achieve that, and we're just beginning. We haven't even broken.
Mhm.
We've broken down doors, but we're just getting started. The volcano is going to erupt like Mount St. Helen. So once we ready to explode, we're going to kick ass.
Mhm.
And those who said, "Oh, you guys are never going to make it past 2 years," you guys are coming to us for work. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes.
And we love to partner up with other companies we love to merge with other creatives,
Hmm.
other creators.
Hmm.
It's what we do. We're the company that love to work with the underdogs. Because I was never given a chance. I had to create it
Right.
myself. Nobody's ever put me on. I had to put myself on.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I like that. And that's it seems like that's why you want to give back too, to help people out.
Really.
Even doing my podcast, you don't know me from Adam, right? So I'm like, this is amazing that you actually were excited to do this because I really appreciate
Thank
meeting
you.
people and hearing your story.
Thank
But
you very much.
one thing for you, LJ, do you like to be in front of the camera? Let the people know some of the work you've done because you're in front of the camera and behind the camera. What do you like better?
I like both. I love working. I just
Mhm.
love to work. I'm in this business not because I have a spectacular voice or I think I'm the greatest actor or singer or anything, or even the best producer at all. I'm in this business because I have something to say. I'm in this business because I'm a creator. I want to create art.
Mhm.
I want to be able to plant the seed and watch it grow, and then everybody gets to buy, enjoy the fruits of the tree. And being behind the scenes is very gratifying because I get to, like I said, plant the seeds and watch it grow. And being in front, I get to tell stories through my art. I'm able to immerse myself in a character that's really not me and tell that story through the eyes of that character. Like Darwin from Shut Up You, people often go back to that character of the imaginary friend who's a beloved dear character. I don't speak too much because I get so choked up when it comes to this character because this character resonated with a lot of children, especially kids in children's hospitals,
Mhm.
and I've gotten fan mail and letters with parents. Hey, my kid didn't make it, but the last film that they saw was your picture, and that gets to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm so glad that my that little short little comedy movie I did about an imaginary friend could bring joy to kids all over the world. I produced it. Firecreek Entertainment produced it. Um, I'm talking about doing a sequel to it, going back to being the imaginary friend.
Mhm.
Stuff like that is why I work so hard. I work tirelessly every single day, and I'm doing this without any representation. I mean, I have an agent and all, but I don't have reps. Fire Creek is the rep.
Yes.
We are solely independent. If you happen to know any good management people,
Yeah.
send them my way. I take that meeting in a heartbeat.
Mhm.
But it's love. It's all love. From creating to accepting scripts
Mhm.
to directing, producing, it's all love. So I don't to answer your question, I'm sorry I'm ranting.
No worries.
It's both.
Mhm.
I can't say one or the other, but I love them both equally.
I'm gonna. There's two questions I want to deep dive on, but
Mhm,
shout out the name of that film again that you're saying because I didn't get it
mhm.
clear.
It's called Shut Up You.
Shut up, you. And where can people find it? Because I'm learning that you're all over streaming platforms, Tubi and everything. Where can
Yeah,
people find that
it's
one?
you can find it on Tubi.
Yeah.
Is it Tubi? I think no, you can find it on Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
That's for sure. It's on YouTube. It's available for free on YouTube, the full length, and that's just one of many of my
Many.
films
Yeah.
that you can find on Tubi, Amazon Prime. We're on Apple TV as
Okay.
well. We're also on Peacock.
Oh, wow.
We're
Okay.
on Peacock.
Yeah.
We're on international, lots of international streaming. Um, there's so many I can't name them all, but we're my films and the films that I produced are just all over the streaming
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm gonna
and
ask you.
DVD and Blu-ray as well.
Oh
So
yes,
yeah,
DVDs, man. DVDs are being phased out these days, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something really quick? And
Yes.
this is because it's. I think it's funny. I was shopping at Branch here, Walmart,
Mhm.
and I was going through the DVDs because I still like to go look
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
DVD bins in the $5 bins, and it's so funny because I dig in the $5 bin and I'm digging through it. I'm like, I'm in this one. I'm in this one too. I put it in the shopping cart, and I'm going thinking, I'm digging. I'm in this picture too, and throw it in the shopping cart, and I'm going to go check out, and the lady's scanning beep beep, and I'm going. And like, if you look behind the DVD, and they look at me like, keep it moving, keep it. If she only knew, right? She
Yeah.
only knew that she scanned one of my films. So it's funny. It's just for fun. It's it's all in comic. It's all in comedy.
Wait,
And I
tell me.
usually buy the DVDs and I give them out,
Give up.
or I'll put
Oh,
them in gift bags for
yeah.
any events that I sponsored. Put them in gift bags, and give them to the
Mhm.
people. So
Wait, tell me something. Do you know how many can you tell me a number how many movies you've been in? Because I gotta tell you something. When I started comedy,
uh,
I used to keep a book, a journal of
uh,
how many performances. Then it was too crazy, and I
right,
couldn't recall how many things. Just like the podcast. When I was
right,
at my 10th podcast, I could name you every guest on 1 to 10.
uh,
But now it's all a
yeah.
blur to me. So if I ask you right
Oh
now,
wow.
how many movies you've been in?
I'm gonna search
Yes.
right now. I can't remember.
Mhm.
I want to say 40. Hold on. God, I keep doing this. Looking at myself. This is
Yeah,
embarrassing.
no worries.
I've done. I've done right at this point 44 films.
44.
Or you could
Wow.
say maybe 40 because I have four more that hasn't been produced yet.
Okay.
So you could say 40 films
Mm. That's
and
up there.
40. I want to say maybe, gosh, maybe 10 out of 40 I like and love
Oh.
to talk about.
Hmm.
I mean, as an actor, you kind of you kind of working.
Yeah.
So you got to do roles and you take parts and stuff because you're gaining exposure and making a little money. You
Yeah.
got bills and stuff. But I want to say maybe 10 out of like 40 films I really love.
Okay. Is are there anybody that I would know? Like, one thing, the link that I was talking about in my intro, Tori Spelling follows you, right?
Yes, she
And I think
does.
that's how the algorithm hit me. That's how I saw your page.
Hmm.
So does that do anything for you? Like, when did that first person, when I first performed, there's a
Hmm.
comic named Russell Peters. He's very big in
Hmm.
Canada and the States,
Hmm.
biggest Canadian comic probably. Um, and when I first performed on the same stage with him, I was
Hmm.
like in awe. After like 40 performances with certain comics, you get used to it, and then you're like,
Right.
"Oh, I
Yeah.
seen you on TV, and I'm a comic too now."
Right. Yeah.
To
Yeah. Yeah.
you, what was it like? Tori Spelling, how did that link start? Because I thought there was a picture with you two, but then when you perform with some of the actors that are in the know, how did that feel?
Well, I haven't met Tori Spelling
Oh, you
personally
haven't.
yet. We
Okay.
just connected because originally she liked our work with Firecreek. She
Okay.
started following Firecreek and then it went from there. And then, I'm a supporter of her work. I think she's
Okay.
fantastic.
Hmm.
I even sent her a link. I'm like, I'm a fan of your dad's. He was one of my inspirations. I wanted to be like Aaron Spelling,
Hmm.
sit behind the desk with
Yeah.
a pipe. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
thought that was what a producer does.
Mm.
So it kind of went from there because there's a couple of indie films that I'm developing that I would love to ask her to be in. Think that she would be great. Everybody knows as Donna Martin from 90210, but they
Mm.
don't know that she is really serious actress.
Yes.
And as a producer, I love to give, like they say, the underdog a chance. If I could ever get secure funding, I would love to put her in like horror or something dramatic. So
Hmm.
that's the goal. I've worked with Meg Foster from Masters of the Universe from the 80s, that
Oh,
He-Man movie, the
yeah.
pretty eyes,
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
movie called, remember the movie They Live? John
That
Carpenter with
sounds.
the glasses. They
Yes.
put the
Roddy
glasses, you can see
Piper.
the alien. Yes, I
What?
worked with her personally. I got to show you all these photographs. I worked with her on a movie called, but I was behind the scenes called Investigation 13. I
Okay.
worked with her for several weeks. I worked with Ken Sagos from A Nightmare on Elm Street. He's a dear friend of mine. Freddy
Wow.
Krueger, the black guy in
Wow.
A,
Wow.
LA. He was one of
Yeah.
my mentors. He's the one that
Wow.
gave me a chance. He's the one that put me on and
Mm.
gave me one of my very first opportunities. So yes, I do have people who given me push. And we did the movie, a little movie called The Goranos,
Okay.
which is a horror, which I produced under Firecreek Entertainment, and he was one of the stars of that movie.
Hmm.
I worked with Carlos Ponce recently, and Mindy Sterling from the Austin Powers franchise and iCarly. I recently worked with her in a movie called Ethan Bloom, which I recently did a premiere for. I went
Hmm.
to the premiere 3 weeks ago, which was a great success. The
Hmm.
movie got a standing ovation. I and just being at the red carpet was very a lot of press, it kind of boosted my profile a little bit. That's why I was doing media
Yeah.
because I played the MC in it. I was just in it as an actor, not it had nothing to do with Firecreek. I worked with her. I've worked with a lot of comedians. Shorty from Atlanta,
Oh
Damian
wow.
Williams.
Oh
I
wow.
produced I produced a documentary on the Ronaldo Ray, the comedian
Oh,
Ronaldo Ray,
okay, yes.
and I'm associate producer. Cheech and Chong is in it. Cat Williams is in it
What?
that I produce. Marcus Head is a writer director. He's one of my best friends.
Mhm.
He's a comedian also, from Def Comedy Jam and all
Okay.
those eras. He's from that era.
Yeah.
Tim Murray, Def Comedy Jam is one of my dear friends.
Mhm.
Um, God, who's not in it? Sinbad is in it.
Oh, Sinbad. He's not doing that well now, too, right?
Yeah, but luckily thank God we were able to get him. Marla Gibbs is in it.
No
Two two
way.
seven is in it.
227 is
Yes,
Jefferson. So
yes, she's in it. She narrates it with Cat Williams.
Mhm.
And also, Montel Jordan, the singer, "This is how we do it," was
Yes.
one of the producers also for the comedy Can't Get Right that I produced.
Mhm.
That if you watch the comedy Can't Get Right, look at who's in it. Everybody from the Def Comedy Jam, Showtime at the Apollo, um, Comic View are in it. So I
Yes,
have the
yes.
distinct pleasure of being in the presence of all those famous. And when I get an opportunity, I would love to personally introduce you to Marcus Head. He's one of my best friends, and he's the guy who's friends with all those legendary comedians. He's the one that introduced me to most of them. And also, Linnell is in the
Oh, oh.
documentary I produced.
I know that. Oh, wow.
So if you look at the credits, my name is credited next to those famous comedians.
Mhm.
And I just happen to have a little space in that documentary. I'm so honored to be amongst those who made us laugh over the years.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's
I definitely
amazing.
got to introduce you. I mean, and maybe have Marcus Head in your podcast,
Oh,
your
I'd love
next
to.
episode.
Oh, I love to. I love to.
And he's, and these
Mhm.
are the people that I work with and
Mhm.
have the distinct honor and privilege
Yes.
of, you know,
That's amazing. The people you get to work with that you grew up with, it's just about the love to me,
yes,
building those connections,
yes,
spreading just the joy of what we like to create,
yeah.
whether it be in song, whether it be in acting, which leads to my next question.
Hmm.
And I'm going to try and set this up for you because this is kind of deep.
Hmm.
So, when I did stand up, I remember sitting in this basement here. I'm in my basement
Hmm.
thinking of a joke and then thinking of the punchline in the middle, how I'm going to set it up, hit them with the shocker, and then just have the crowd burst out. And when I finally got a tag to my joke, the
Hmm.
setup, that punchline, the feeling that you get is overwhelming. But let
Right,
me tell you something. Walking to that stage is also overwhelming. It's a great
right.
feeling, the nerves and everything. You say you still get nervous when you
Of
perform and do things,
course, of
but
course.
then actually delivering the joke and hearing the laughter, it's a different
Hmm.
feeling. Now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this out to you and I see what you
Uh-huh.
say.
Uh-huh.
And there's two different ones. So, when you think about the different aspects of singing, you
Hmm.
have the creative part of writing the lyrics, being
Hmm.
a part of the composing the music,
Hmm.
and the enjoyment of singing and bringing the words to life. You
Hmm.
also have the impact it has on the audience. Which one hits you the hardest emotionally?
I guess the acceptance part is when, the audience acceptance,
Mm.
because I do it for to entertain an audience. So that part will hit me the most. It's like, wow, they reacted and they like it.
Yes, yes. See, that's what I was gonna say too. But I'm telling you that for a comedian, the
Hmm.
feeling of getting the punchline where I know the joke's gonna work. Sometimes you
Yeah,
don't know if a joke's gonna work, right?
yeah.
But when I know a joke's gonna work, I don't know,
Hmm.
this feeling that comes across. So when I tell it on stage, I already know the reaction, but that's a beautiful feeling too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
getting that punchline, it's amazing. So thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that one. Okay, I got another one for you. Did you want to add something?
No,
Oh, okay.
that was it.
Next one. Now, acting. You have a character that you kind of answered this too. I'm gonna see what you say.
Mhm.
Um, you have a character that you'll be portraying. You have to understand the emotions, understand the relationships between characters, building rapport with the actors, memorizing the lines, and then delivering
Mhm.
the lines. What do you draw on to feel that character you're portraying?
I gotta immerse myself in him first and foremost. Now, if it's a comedy, I just let it go.
Mm.
I don't put too much emphasis in it. I just try to use my natural abilities. But if it's a portrayal of a little bit of a serious matter, then I try to immerse myself in it. If it's depicting a situation, then I try to back to the studying and the researching and the deep diving. That's how I physically and emotionally prepare for that particular project.
Mhm.
Then, of course, you can't just throw away the lines. You gotta say it as if it's just you and I having a conversation. That's
Mm.
how I prepare myself.
Okay.
And it's it's a yin and a yang. I'd rather do the comedy stuff because I don't have to. It won't take me someplace where I don't want to really be right at the moment. I want
Okay.
to make you laugh, so I try to go. you know.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah. Hey, tell me something. If you ever have to get emotional, you know that scene. There's been a lot of scenes in movies and TV, but you know that scene in Fresh Prince with Will and his father. Do you know that one I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
about?
when he that monologue that he
Yes.
performed. Yeah,
Yeah. And then why don't he want me, man? And then he just gets emotional and breaks down, and everyone gets hit by that scene when you're
yeah,
watching it. You know that suitcase story you told me?
yeah. I always
Would
think of
you
that
ever have
suitcase.
to draw on that when if you're acting in a scene that you want to
Yeah,
feel that emotion?
I do. Or if I really need to seriously deep dive, I always think of that beloved suitcase. I think of that the young man who
Mhm.
just wanted to work.
Mhm.
He just wanted to be able to make a living and be left alone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I just want to work, do my thing, and just be left alone.
Yeah.
And I take that, or and I take of the experiences I had when I was growing up, and why wasn't I not accepted, and why didn't people like me? But now it's all like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I try to think of real life.
Mhm. Yeah. So you draw on. Nice.
Hmm.
Um, okay, we're winding down now.
Hmm.
What I want to know now, it's a would you rather question. I've been asking this
Yeah,
question
yeah,
for
yeah.
like 5 or 6 seasons. This is gonna be
Let's
interesting to
do it.
see what you
Let's do
say.
it.
So the first question is a would you rather, and then there's
Hmm.
four succeeding questions.
Uh-huh.
So would you rather visit your younger self and give them advice for the future,
Hmm.
or would you rather visit your older self and give them advice for what's going on right now?
Hmm. Golly. Even though I wouldn't want to change the past, I think I would rather go to my older self. Because I don't want to disturb that little boy. I really don't. I need him to learn. I want him to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
Because that little Louis Ugarte from Brooklyn, I don't want to disturb him. He needs to learn. So I go to my older self.
Bam. You know what? I like hearing the answers to this. And I got to tell you, I get a mixed bag of older
Uh-huh,
and younger. And what I
uh-huh.
find, because a lot of people don't want to change their path because it shaped them for who they are, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I find that a lot of people that had traumatizing lives,
Uh-huh.
they sometimes want to go back and tell their younger self, this is how you do this. Don't trust this person, whatever it is.
Right,
And then, like you said,
right,
older self, I have a lot of people on my podcast that are trying to make it. So they want advice for that older
mhm,
self on how to handle
right.
what's going on now. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. Now, whether my guest chose younger or older self, this is about your younger self. Four
Hmm.
things. What would you tell your younger self about money?
Oh, good question. Because I done lost a lot. Oh my God, I even filed bankruptcy once.
Well,
Not fun.
mm,
Young and dumb. Make better when I'm 21 years old. Choose to make good investments at 21.
mm.
Don't splurge it on traveling, unnecessary purchases, knowing that you get a credit card, you have to pay it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, make better choices financially,
Mm.
save
Oh, big time.
and invest smart. Yeah.
Mm,
That's what I would do.
nice. Next, what would you tell your younger self about family?
They ain't shit. Ah, that's what I'll tell them. They ain't shit.
Okay. All right. Next. It's the first time I heard that. Next one. What would you tell your younger self about friends?
Beware of lots of friends. You keep your eyes and your ears wide open
Mhm.
and choose your friends carefully.
Mm, nice. Last one. What would you tell your younger self about love?
Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Love is a sweet old fashioned notion, like Tina says. It'll
Yeah.
come. Don't force
Nice.
it. Yep.
Short and sweet. Oh, before I ask you, I want to know what you're doing now. You can plug some stuff. But World Spin Vision, do you have a charity or something you were working on that I seen?
Yeah, I
Can you
do. I
let the people
started.
know?
Yeah, I started I also started an anti-bullying campaign a couple of years ago because I was bullied as a little boy, and I don't like that fun. I was abused
Mhm,
by a sibling, and I'm a survivor of having a narcissistic abuser, which
mhm,
I'm glad I was able to overcome that. Thank you, God. I did start the World Spin Foundation many years ago, and it's all part of Firecreek now. It's subsidiary of Firecreek Entertainment. Every time I do an event and we try to raise equity and fund, and each cent that we make from that goes to the anti-bullying campaign. It will go to the cause of the HIV and AIDS and cancer,
mhm.
and that's where, for the most part, it'll go towards.
Amazing. See, giving back. I like that. That's what we do here on Real Talk with Star Scorpio too. Um, before I get into the last question, which is a choice, let the people know what you're up to because before I started recording, I believe you mentioned a book. I don't know if you want to plug what's going on there and
Yeah, and
anything you're working on.
I'm in the we're now Fire Creek is in the development phase of multiple projects right now. We're still in the middle of a merger and acquisition, and we're also still in the process of an expansion. I'm kind of been looking towards the UK right now to kind of start a subsidiary of Fire Creek Entertainment in the UK. um, I'm kind of been looking at merging with some film producers in Vancouver and, of course, Los Angeles. That's the latest project we got going on.
Okay.
I'm in the process of producing documentaries. I have a couple of horror scripts. I have with my friend Wyatt O. Evans. Him and I have been constant communication in regards to turning his amazing LGBT plus book. He has
Mhm.
an LGBT plus romantic novel called Nothing Can Tear Us Apart, called Shattered. And I secured the rights along with the writer. He's a dear
Mhm.
friend of mine. And turning this beautiful masterpiece of a book, it's so sexy,
Mhm.
into either a series or a feature.
Oh,
It's a
it's a
two-part
series.
book.
Oh.
Right now, I have part one, and I'm telling you, this book is steamy
Mhm.
and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful love story. You guys can find this book on Amazon Prime. It's called Shattered. Oh, well, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart, Shattered, written by Wade O. Evans. Wonderful. And I'm so glad that he bestowed that honor. And we're just pretty much trying to secure funds for it. We're talking to other production companies emerging to try to get this story to life. So that's one of the goals.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, you guys out there could find that book on Amazon Prime. It's a good read.
Mhm.
Very good.
A series would be nice if you turn it into a
Yeah, we've
that'd
been
be
we've
nice.
been in talks of doing it into a series. So, but we're looking for investors and we're looking for partnerships with it. But of course, I'm the executive producer. It'll be produced under Fire Creek Entertainment.
Mhm.
So me and Wyatt will oversee every aspect of that.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate you sharing everything you shared today.
Yeah.
And I wish you success in everything you do in the future. This is
Thank you.
amazing for episode 100.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Now,
100.
the last thing before I do the donations
Mm-hmm.
is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read out the question you want me to read. Do you choose the Blue Jays or the Raptors?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be kind right now. So since blue is my favorite color, I'm gonna go with blue.
Let's do this. What is one of the most memorable moments of your life?
My most memorable moment is when I booked the Gornos because that was during a time when I was uncertain of my future in the entertainment business. So one door opens and another keeps opening. And that holds a special place in my heart because I was able to financially help my mother because of that job.
It's amazing. Do you remember how old you were at the time?
2016, I don't
Okay,
remember.
no, the math. The math.
I
No,
don't
I know.
remember.
I know. Yeah. Amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Okay,
Thank you.
now we're at the last part where I do the donations.
Ooh,
Pop a balloon
that's
here.
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So everyone knows that I donate to a charity after every episode. The
Nice.
four charities that are in these balloons is CLAWS, Kawartha Lakes Animal Wellness Society. We have my
Cool.
friend Kevin Blagrove. He started Juku Sports. We have the Fundraiser Warriors, four little boys that raise money for sick kids, a lot of different things, Sick Kids Hospital. They're actually on my
Nice.
podcast. And then Liam, he was 8 at the time. He did my podcast. He was born with cystic fibrosis. So it's called Liam's Mission. So those are the four charities. And I'll see which one I'm donating to. So one, two, three, or four. Which one am I popping?
Ooh, let's try three. Let's try three.
Right. Episode 100 with LJ Ugarte. Star Scorpio would be donating two. Oh my gosh. Back to back. I don't know if you can be able to see the four little boys. The
Oh, I see
Fundraiser
that. Yeah.
Warriors. Oh my. That's back to back. What are the chances?
Ah, it's meant to be. I love it. I love it.
Yes. LJ, thank you for being on for episode 100. Let the people know where they could find you before we sign off.
You guys can find me on Instagram at lj.ugarte. I'm all on social media platforms. You guys can find me on Facebook, LJ Ugarte. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And
Is
from
it
there,
tied
all
into
my links.
is it tied into Fire Creek?
Yes, it's all intertwined.
Oh,
And of
Tina
course,
Twine.
Firecreek Entertainment has its own everything.
Yes.
So you just look up Firecreek Entertainment. You guys can Google us and we're all over. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Episode 100. Real Talk with Star Scorpio. And we out.